Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Today I'm sharing the cards I made using Spellbinders October 2021 Card Kit of the Month. The theme is You Are Stellar. This kit is now available and I do have links provided in the description box if you are interested in subscribing. Spellbinders always packs their kits full of fun products. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I'm using a card sketch from OWH. This is number 218. It's one of my favorite sketches, so you will see me use it quite often. It's a great sketch for featuring some lovely pattern paper, and I'll be using this beautiful floral paper in that larger rectangle. I have some fun triangle paper for the background, some polka dot paper for that strip that goes across the card. I'm adding some Love from Lizi peel-offs along the edge of that purple polka dot paper just for a little extra shine. Using peel-offs there instead of cardstock will reduce some of the layers on my cards. Although overall, most of my cards are still fairly flat. I'll just wrap the ends of the peel-offs around the back of the card front, put some ATG tape on the back of that piece, and layer it on some purple cardstock. Now the kit does include several sheets of colored cardstock. I'll be bringing in some of my own since I do add quite a few cardstock layers to my cards. Now before I attach this floral rectangle, I'm putting some scrap cardstock just on the upper portion where it goes off of that purple polka dot paper, just to keep everything nice and level. And I use some scrap cardstock, so even though it's black, you won't see it. Now I'll bring in some of the die cut pieces. I have 2 of the feathers. I love the one with the gold foil polka dots, so pretty. So I'll attach both the feathers first. I'm using liquid adhesive to adhere them in place. The feather on the left, I do have a thin foam square on the upper portion just to keep it all nice and level. Otherwise that top part of the feather would sag down. For the sentiment, I have 1 of the die cut pieces. This is Just Be Yourself, and I cut a fishtail on the left side. Before adhering it on top of those feathers, I am adding those small scrap pieces of cardstock, and then I'll also put some of the thin foam squares on the back side. Remove the release paper and adhere it in the lower left-hand corner. Then to finish off the card, I'm using the sequins that are included in the kit. These are so pretty. They have an iridescent finish on them. Put 1 of them underneath the sentiment and 2 in the upper right-hand corner. And I'm using an embellishment wand to pick those up, just adding a drop of Barely Art liquid glue and then pressing them in place. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this sketch. The colors in this kit are so pretty, lots of blues and purples. For card design number 2, I'm using a sketch from Freshly Made Sketches. It's number 350, and I'm really only using that sketch for inspiration. I won't be following it exactly. I have some beautiful floral paper for the background, added a strip of this green grid paper, putting some Love from Lizi peel-offs along the edge of that green paper. This is the gold mirror color. I'll just wrap the ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back of this piece, and adhere it to some dark blue cardstock. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, so 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. I'll put my card front onto a card base. And the background panel for most of my cards is 4 inches by 5¼ inches. Now I'll bring in several of the die cut pieces. I have this cute little postcard. It has the moon stamp in the upper right hand corner. And I did pop that up using some thin foam squares. I'm adding a cute little pink butterfly on top of the postcard. For sentiment, I have 2 other die cut pieces, Dream and also Radiate Happiness. I popped up the word dream, and on the Radiate Happiness, I'll just glue that down directly, just tucking it underneath the letter M on the word dream. I also have this little tag I'm putting in the upper right-hand corner. It's a little long, so I decided to trim it down. And I'll just glue that down using some liquid adhesive. Then to finish off the card, I'll use some more of the beautiful sequins. I love these sequins and I use them quite a bit on my cards in this video. Put one underneath the sentiment, one to the left of the postcard, and one in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 2. Even though I did start with a card sketch for inspiration, you can see I really didn't follow it. That's the fun thing about card sketches. You can completely change them up. For card design number 3, I have this beautiful pattern paper. It's all purple and it has almost a shadow of flowers in the background. I'm adding a strip of that purple polka dot paper, lining it with some of the Love from Lizi peel-offs using the narrowest width. And I don't need to have the peel-offs go all the way across this panel since most of it will be covered up. Need to add just one more along the edge. Then I'll wrap the ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back of this piece and layer it on some purple cardstock. The background cardstock layer, I added an additional 1/8 of an inch. So it's 4 1/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. I'll put my card front onto a card base, and for this card I am leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next I cut out 2 pieces using the die that's included in the kit. I have one from white shimmer cardstock and the other I use the gold mirror cardstock that's included in the kit. And I'll layer the 2 pieces together, just offset them slightly. So you'll see just that peak of the gold from the background. Put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the card on the left side. Trying to make sure to get it nice and straight. Next I'll add one of the die cut sentiment pieces. It has this fun gold frame all along the outside, and the sentiment is, "Your purpose is to shine your light as bright and as beautiful as only you can." I think that's really lovely. I used the star dies that are included in the kit, cut out 3 stars using the purple cardstock, put 2 of them in the upper left hand corner and 1 underneath the sentiment on the right. Then I'm also adding some of these gold puffy sticker stars. These are so pretty, and warning, they're very pokey. They're sharp on those edges. So there is my finished card, and again I did make 2 using this design. I think that soft purple and the gold looks so pretty together. Now moving on to card design number 4, using a card sketch for inspiration. This is MFT number 498. I'm using this beautiful pattern paper for the background that has, I'm not sure, is it a unicorn or a Pegasus? Because it has a horn and also wings. I decided to round the bottom right hand corner, layered that paper on some dark blue cardstock. You can see I did cut a large circle out of the background and I just filled that in using some scrap cardstock. I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I have a large stitched circle die cut from the same blue cardstock. That was the piece you saw I already cut out, and I just trimmed off the left side. I used some of this beautiful gold foil star pattern paper and cut a smaller circle, just glued those together. For the sentiment, I've already stamped this out. This is included on the stamp set that's in the kit. Be bright, be happy, be you. And I just cut the end at an angle. And I am following this sketch fairly closely. Before adhering it to the card, I will add those cardstock layers where it goes off of the circle, just to keep it all nice and level. I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the card. For a couple finishing touches, I'm adding a few of the gold stars. These are some of the die cut pieces. And I did decide to pop those up using some of those thin squares. I'll also add 2 of the sequins in the upper right hand corner. So you can see I'm using these sequins a lot. I really do like them. So there is my finished card, and again I did make 2 using this design. The stamp set that's included in the kit has lots of great uplifting sentiments. Now moving on to card design number 5. The card sketch is from MFT. It's number 502. I'm using some diagonal stripe paper for the background. It's white and sort of a purplish gray color. I'll be layering that on some dark blue cardstock. I'll also be using this beautiful blue floral pattern paper. Layer it on that same dark blue cardstock. I've only been using Spellbinder kits for a few months, but it seems like they always have some gorgeous floral papers in the collection. There really is a good variety and mix of designs in all of their paper collections. For this small banner that's on the left side, using some more pattern paper, it has a grid and also these little X's in some of the boxes. I just cut a fishtail on the bottom and I'll adhere it on the left side, following this sketch fairly closely again. For the sentiment on the card, I'm using one of the die cut pieces. This is the word shine. You can see all that beautiful gold foil. I did pop it up using some thin foam squares. The kit does include a sheet of foam dimension. It's a little thick for me, so I do tend to switch to my thin foam squares instead. Also adding those 3 little circles as indicated on the sketch, and I cut these out from some white shimmer cardstock. To finish off the card, I'll add a few of the gold puffy sticker stars. Just put one inside of each of the circles, putting it toward the outside. So I am using my reverse tweezers to pick those up, because as I mentioned before, those little points are very sharp. So there is my finished card, and again, I did make 2 using this design. This is one of my favorite cards. I love the clean design, and those beautiful blue florals are very pretty. For card design number 6, I know I put a sketch on my desk, but I'm actually not following the sketch for this card. That is the sketch for the next card. So obviously I wasn't paying any attention at all. But really the end result of the card is kind of similar to the design of the card sketch. The background paper has constellations with the stars all in gold foil, so it's super sparkly. Adding a little more sparkle, I used some of the dies that are included in the kit. So it has the frame, and it also has the inside piece that cuts out the little stars and dots. Just for a little extra detail, I'm adding a thin strip of blue cardstock to the very top of the card. Put some ATG tape on the back and adhere this panel onto some dark blue cardstock. You can see all of that gorgeous shine. I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. So now that my die cut pieces are all dry, put some liquid adhesive on the back and I'll adhere it to the upper portion of the card. Next, I'll bring in several die cut pieces. I have a circle with little gold stars all around it. The sentiment is, "The stars, they shine for you." And that one also has some little gold stars above and below. Put the white circle underneath, popped up the blue circle with some of the thin foam squares, adding a gold foil heart in the lower right hand corner and the sentiment "Happy Birthday," and I did pop up that sentiment. I'll also add a white star that has the outline in gold, and I did pop that one up. So there is my finished card, and that is card number 6. For card design number 7, this time I will be using that sketch. So this is MFT sketch number 441. For the background paper, I'm using that grid paper with some of the little X's in the box. Layer it on some dark blue cardstock. I have some more of that lovely floral paper that I featured on card number 1. Layered it on the blue cardstock, and then I'll also add a purple square underneath. So just offset it just as it's indicated on the sketch. For this sentiment, I'm using one of the stickers that's included in the kit. This is the first time I pulled out the stickers. And there's 4 sheets, so there's tons of stickers. Decided to use the sentiment, "You are so very lovely." Just for a little extra shine, I'm adding some of the gold peel-offs to the edge of this sentiment. So I'm following the little white line on that background paper. I'll just wrap those ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back of this panel, and layer it on some dark blue cardstock. Then I can put my card front onto a card base. And for this card, I will be leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. If my background is mostly white, I tend not to have that edge of the white card base showing. For the sentiment, I have 2 of the die cut pieces. One has the word dreamer on the inside and it has these little gold rays going all around. I decided to cover that up with the little unicorn die cut piece. Then to finish out the card, I'll add a few of the sequins that are included in the kit. 2 in the lower right hand corner and 1 to the left of the unicorn. And since the unicorn needs to be sparkly, I'm using a glitter brush and putting it all along the unicorn's mane. So a very subtle touch, but it is nice and sparkly. And there is my finished card. For the second card, I used the sentiment sticker, "Have a Magical Birthday." Now moving on to card design number 8. I'm using this fun pattern paper for the background that has lots of moons and stars. Before I layer it on the dark blue cardstock, I decided to add a couple of border die cuts. I used some fun stitched wavy dies from Jaded Blossom. I cut out the larger one from the same dark blue cardstock and the narrow one using the gold mirror cardstock that's included in the kit. So just glue both of those in place. Flip over the panel and trim off the extra. Find it easier to cut that piece longer and then you can just trim off the extra rather than risk it being just a little too short. So I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. And I didn't show this earlier, but I am following a card sketch. So there it is. It's MFT number 557. I'm adding a large star and I cut this out from some white shimmer cardstock. I did add some scrap cardstock underneath and I found it easier to cut a second star so I would have the same shape. I just used a slightly smaller star die. I trimmed off the very right side of the star so it's flush to the edge. And then I'll be adding the sentiment Shine On, and this is the die that's included in the kit. And I cut it out using the gold mirror cardstock that's also included in the kit. So it is 4 different pieces for the full sentiment. It has the I and E together and also the word on is all together, but the S and the H are separate. So just put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere those to the center of that white star. Then I'll add one of the die cut images. I already put some foam squares on the back side. So just remove the release paper and adhere the little unicorn on top of the star. And I'm having just the front 2 legs touch the top of the star. On the card sketch, there's 3 small circles that go around that large star. I'll be using some small stars and I cut these out from the gold mirror cardstock. And I decided just to glue them down instead of popping them up. And since this little unicorn also needs to sparkle, I'm adding some glitter to the purple wings. So there is my finished card, and this is card design number 8. Now moving on to card design number 9, and this is one of my favorite cards, but do let me know which card is your favorite. I have 2 different pattern papers. There's a white pattern where it might be a very light blue color that has black stars all over it. And then there's this pattern paper that has lots of small sentiments. So it has best times, dream of me, superstar, sparkle, hello darling, lots of fun sentiments. Layered those on some dark blue cardstock. And for the very background piece, the white is some textured cardstock, which is actually one of the card bases that's included in the kit. I do bring in my own card bases since I like to use 120-pound weight cardstock, but I like to use the card bases for backgrounds. They're perfect with that fun texture look. Just layer all of those pieces together and then I'll add a strip of the same blue cardstock across the bottom. I'm going to cut some of those scrap pieces of cardstock to keep everything nice and level. I'll just glue those in place with some liquid adhesive. When I'm adding all those little scraps of cardstock to level everything out, I like to hold it up on my card and run my finger across the top just to feel if there's a dip anywhere and I need to either add more or take away some of the cardstock. Next, I use a couple of the dies that are included in the kit for this fun gold frame. So it has the die to cut out that outside frame, and then it has the inside piece where you could cut out the center. And then it also has the die to put all of the little stitching and circle detail. So you end up with this fun frame. Decided to glue that on the background. And now I can add my blue strip across the card. So once I added another layer with this gold frame, I need to add more cardstock layers. So I put more on the outside edge, and I'll also put one on the inside so it's not dipping down where it goes off of that frame. And for this piece, I decided to use some of the double-sided tape that's included in the kit. So try to get it nice and straight, and then I'll adhere that in place. Next, I'll bring in a couple more of the die cut pieces. I have a beautiful floral bouquet, and I did pop this up using some thin foam squares. I'll adhere it in the upper left-hand corner, and then I have the tag with the sentiment, "This is perfect." I did put a foam square on the very right-hand side and also a little scrap of cardstock before adhering it in place. So it'll just be popped up slightly on the one side. To finish off the card, I'll add some gem stickers. This is the Crystal Mix by Spellbinders, and it's not included in the kit. It's something I purchased separately. So there is my finished card, and I love how this one turned out. It's so pretty. Now moving on to card design number 10, and this is my final card design. Using one of my favorite pattern papers, has all these little butterflies or moths in the background and also some gold foil moons. I'm adding some of this ombre blue paper, and I used a wonky stitch die to cut that out just for a little extra detail. I'll layer it on some dark blue cardstock, and I put some ATG tape on the back and also some liquid adhesive. With all that stitch detail, sometimes the edges don't lay flat unless I add liquid adhesive. So I'll adhere this to the center of the card. I am covering up a lot of that fun pattern paper, but you can still see it all along the outside edge. Now I'll bring in several more die cut pieces and create a little nighttime scene. So I have the moon in gold foil, so pretty. I'll add a cloud over the moon. So just in the area where it goes off of the moon, I'll pop it up using some of the foam squares and then put liquid adhesive on the area where it touches the moon. We have one of the butterflies, and I'll glue that one down directly instead of popping it up. Add a little blue heart in the lower right-hand corner. I'll pop up the sentiment "Loving Life" and adhere it on top of that blue heart. I also have a little blue star. This is one of the die cut pieces, and I decided to adhere it to the left side of the cloud. And since this is a nighttime scene, it needs some stars. So I pulled out the sheet with all these gold puffy sticker stars and just putting them all along the background. And I decided to use 5 different stars in different sizes. And this sheet is so fun. It has all those great sentiments. I ended up not using them this time, but if I do go back to the kit, I'll probably make sure to use some of those sentiments. So one final star, and there is my finished card. Again, I did make 2 using this design. This is another of my favorites. I think that turned out really fun. Now here's another look at the 20 cards I made using Spellbinders October 2021 Card Kit of the Month. The theme is "You Are Stellar." This kit is now available. I have links provided in the description box if you are interested in subscribing or looking at some of the kit add-ons or maybe some of the past kits. Sometimes they have some of their older kits available without subscribing. If you do decide to subscribe, they have other kits available as well. They have small die of the month, large die of the month, there's a stamp set, and they do have value clubs if you want to subscribe to more than one of the monthly kits. And I will have a link for that in the description box as well. You must sign up by the 24th in order to receive the October kits. I've really been enjoying using their card kit of the month, and I made 20 cards and I still have a ton of product left over. I think it would be easy to get at least 50 cards out of one of their monthly kits. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.